Good evening. Let me turn this volume down a smidge. Um, so news today, while not real good, there wasn't as much, it didn't seem, as the day unfolded. Again, I'm not saying that there was good news. I'm just saying that we didn't get pummeled like we have been pretty much every day this week. So I've got one of those gut feelings about tomorrow, and I thought I would mention it. Those gut feelings aren't 100% accurate, but more often than not, there's something to it. So just thought I would pass it on. Let's see. Don't know of any real updates to give you. I am going to be doing a video, I think. We'll see how it turns out. I think I'm going to be doing a video. I've got a what they call a super strop for my work sharp electric knife sharpener. And I think I'm going to do a video on using that. I've got a kitchen knife that I'd really like to get a much better edge on, and I think it'd do the job. So anyway, I'm going to be doing a video on that. And then I'm waiting for the stars to align. In other words, a decently cool day. Where there's not going to be rain that day or the next day, or there hadn't been rain for a couple of days prior, which it's probably going to be at least a week. And I'm going to do a video of putting the Weathermaster Elite Coleman tent that we have up, which I'm actually going to be talking about a little bit tonight. But I've been wanting to do a good video or decent video or whatever of putting up that tent, so I think I'm going to give it a shot. And I've got a generic GoPro, for lack of a better name. It's an action camera, but it's generic, it's cheap. And I've got a chest rig that I can mount it on, and then I've got the Pocket 2, which I can use also, and that way I've got two different views I could switch back and forth from. And that way you get a really good look at it, and individuals that purchase one or think about purchasing one, they get a good look at how it goes up. And they recommend at minimum of 2 people put up that tent, because it isn't a small one. And I do it by myself. Every time I've done it by myself. So but anyway, let's see. About the only things I can think of to mention as far as upcoming. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what my thoughts are. Last year we started hearing a term that was very concerning to me, and that was dark winter. And I can't honestly say, with the exception of some unfortunate folks in Texas, and I'm sure others, I'm just saying, it wasn't a particularly dark winter for the majority of us, I don't think. I'm not 100% sure that we're going to have the same luck this year. And that is concerning to me. And I'm looking at this from many different fronts. And if you're in a position like we are, and I'm sure many of you are, I'm sure many of you rent where you live, or for whatever reason don't have control over a lot of things about where you live. And that kind of puts us in a bit of a rough spot. Because, for instance, our heat type, most of us, again, if you're renting, you probably don't have a wood heat source. Most of us. And so you're either likely going to have one of the other three: propane, natural gas, or electric. You're dependent, obviously, on all of those for utilities. Now, the propane, as long as you've got a full tank, you might be able to hold out. The problem is, you still need to provide, like your furnace, with electricity so it can run. So you got to have some type of backup power system so that you can run the furnace. You've got the fuel, you just need the energy. The rest of us, like we've got electric heat, we're hosed. So we have to come up with some kind of a plan to be able to heat and not do any harm in any way, and be able to survive. Well, first things first, I want to back up a little bit before we kind of jump in here. I think what's most important, and I think people really need to focus on when it comes to the heat situation, not freezing to death. I think the number one first important thing that you need to focus on is getting stuff that you can get in, clothes that you can wear, stuff that you can get in, like sleeping blankets, and you know, have things like wool blankets or woobies or something like that, so that you can survive if there is no heat. That is the most important number one thing, because we really need to be looking at this as heat is a luxury. Because what happens if for whatever reason you don't have it? Let's say you've got plans in place, but for whatever reason they fall through. Well, then what? So I highly recommend that on a very base level, you make sure that you have the gear that you need to be able to survive with no heat. None. So we have actually started on that. I mentioned on the show, well, I guess yesterday, that I had ordered a sleeping bag, and it's a rather cheap one. I'll show you guys the bag that I had ordered, and it's not a super expensive one, and I know that it's going to say let me bring it up here. Let me do that. Okay. So I know it's going to say 0 degree mummy sleeping bag. I don't know that I would quite go that far and say it was 0 degree. I don't know that I would rely on it being 0 degree. So for that, I would say take note. And also, a couple other things about this particular sleeping bag is it's not an ultralight sleeping bag, number one, and number two, it's not an ultra small sleeping bag. So in other words, you know, it's going to have a little bulk to it. It's going to be a little heavier than what your more expensive bags are. But here's the thing. We don't have the kind of money to be spending whatever, $200-300 a sleeping bag. That ain't going to happen. But we still need to survive. And this, in combination with a wool blanket or a woobie or both or whatever, plus, you know, of course, clothing, I think you'll live. I think it's enough to keep you warm enough to survive. Obviously not an ideal situation, but sometimes you just have to do what you have to do to get by the moment. And then you can implement other things. Nonetheless, like I say, not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it is, I think it's going to work fine. I would say that should be your number one focus. Make sure that you have the gear that you need to stay warm without any other type of heat source. Then from there, again, we all have our own independent situations. Every one of us are unique in that. And so I think it's incredibly important that we treat it as such. We have in the closet there, we've got a little bitty tent, or tent heater, wood tent heater. Sometimes they're called military tent stove heaters or whatever, tent stoves. There's a bunch of different names for them. I've got one here that is very similar to the one that we have, except this actually looks like it might be a little better, to be honest, than one we've got. And the problem is, currently, I don't have what I need to run that out a window, because I need a couple of 90s. Pardon me. I need a couple of 90s, and I need a little more pipe. Now, I was just looking on Amazon earlier, and I actually found now on Amazon where you can easily find the pipe, the 90s, the pipe, and all that, the different sizes, because it's odd sizes of pipe on these stoves. That's where they get you. So you've got one of two options. You can either buy the extra pipe in the 90s and stuff like that that's for sale, that's the right size, make sure you check. Or you can find an adapter to adapt it from, some of it's 2.1 inch and some of it I think is like 2.36 inch or something like that. They're odd sizes. Probably metric, to tell you the truth. And anyway, you can I'm sure you can find an adapter, or even have an exhaust shop make you an adapter to like 3 inch. You can find 3 inch pipe everywhere for cheap. Have an exhaust shop make you a custom adapter, have them hack you up a length of 8-foot pipe into pieces or whatever, get a couple of 90s, and you'd be set. You'd be absolutely set. So, that's just another option. But this is a wood option if there's any way at all that you could do that. Now, in our particular situation, I honestly feel that if things were really dire, if, say, the power went out and it didn't look like it was coming on, I kind of have a feeling that our landlord might bend a little when it came to using wood heat to keep warm. And again, I'm talking about a serious situation to where it doesn't look like power's going to come back. However, there's a couple issues with this. Number one, these stoves, these portable camp stoves, aren't meant for any type of long-term use. Do I think you could make it through a winter with one? Maybe-ish, yeah. If you're careful with it, if you treat it right. I think you could. Don't overheat it too much, that's for sure. Just have to baby it through. The problem is the metal's kind of thin on them, and it only for so long before you start like burning through the metal, and because it'll start pitting. There's nothing you can do to stop it from doing that. It's only a matter of time before it burns through. Yeah, you could probably get a winner out of one. I don't know that you would get any more. Anyway, I am looking at another option currently that I think is honestly the way to go. And this might be a way to go even for the average apartment dweller. As long as you've got a window. As long as you've got a window, you're good. And so I wanted to make sure to share that idea with you. I haven't been able to do this yet. I really want to get one. I haven't been able to do it yet. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I was looking at them earlier just to try to find a decent deal on one to show you. And let me bring this up. This is it's an 8 kilowatt diesel air heater, 12 volt diesel parking car heater, automatic control, blah 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 blah. This one has a 10-liter tank. Some of them have up to a 15-liter tank. Reviews are all across the board when it comes to these things. This one actually has a really good reviews on it so far, and there's a ton of different designs, a ton of different companies. There seem to be pretty much a dime a dozen. This one right now you could save $10. You can get it for $155 essentially. And it's 8,000 watts, 8 kilowatts of energy that comes out of it. Let me tell you what, from my understanding, these things put out a pretty incredible amount of heat and use a pretty small amount of fuel. And the only thing that you would have to do is, I think you can see my mouse. Yep, cool. Here, let me bring this up. Okay, so one of these is going to be an air inlet here. Okay, and then the other one's going to be an outlet. I don't know which one's which. One of them's going to be an intake, one of them's going to be an exhaust. Now, I would imagine the intake you could probably just run inside your home. That probably not going to be a big deal. But your exhaust, you want to run that. What you would want to do is make... hang on here. You would want to make up like a rectangle block that went across your window, that went exact width of the window, so that you could essentially place this underneath of your window and shut your window down on top of it. And then all you would do would be have a nozzle, a flange. You would look for a flange that was the same size, okay, of that tubing, same size as this flange here. You would just find a flange that you would mount onto that rectangle block that you put to put under your window, and just simply connect it to it. And then that way you're exhausting out a window. Now, in my opinion, I think that would be a very feasible way. Now, mind you, this is not going to heat a 2,000 square foot home. Not going to happen. But again, I was talking for something like apartment dwellers. Oh wow, I didn't have that. I don't know if I had that up, did I? Yeah, I think I did. But again, mind you that I'm speaking essentially to apartment dwellers, and what are you talking about? By pool noodle. Sorry, Heather loves Deuteronomy. What do you mean by pool noodle? But anyway, I think this is a very feasible way for individuals to heat, especially if they've got an apartment or something of that effect. And again, I think it uses, from everything I've heard, it uses an incredibly small amount of fuel. And that is something that you could sit there, and one of the preps that you could start doing now, and it's not that I would not recommend it, would be I would start putting back some diesel. And, get something like this. If you're in this type of situation, this is what I would like to be able to do, and hopefully I'm blessed with the opportunity to be able to do it. I want to get one of these, and then what I want to do is get a minimum of like 3 5-gallon cans and fill them, and have a minimum of 15 gallons of diesel. And then I wouldn't mind trying to get like a 35 gallon plastic tank, right? That's good to hold the fuel. And then I wouldn't mind filling that up as well, and having that 35 gallon tank, as well as 3 5-gallon tanks. And again, no, that ain't gonna last me all winter long. But you know what? That's gonna get a good bump out of the way, that I can actually get something else a little bit more sustainable in place. In other words, some type of wood heat going on or something like that. And again, I'm talking for a big SHTF here. I'm not talking about a 2-week, 4-week power outage even. I'm talking about a serious long-term outage. However, if you had something like this and you were ready to go with it, it wouldn't matter if you had a 2-day outage. It would be so simple to grab this out and set it up and be able to heat your apartment or your small home. We live in a small home. We rent a small home. I don't really honestly expect that thing would heat this whole place. I really don't see that happening. I have no idea. It's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's just under 400 square feet. This entire home. It's not big, and I don't know. I don't think that it would heat the whole thing. However, I do think that I could put it, the wedge between the window and the sill. Yeah. Well, you would have to mount a flange on it, though. You would have to use, I don't know, a piece of wood, piece of metal, something, because you'd have to be able to mount a flange on it to be able to run your exhaust out. So I don't know that a pool noodle would work. Now, you could use a pool noodle, cut it in half, and use half of it on the top and the bottom of whatever else you use that would help make that seal, to help keep it sealed tight. If you wanted, that'd be a good thing to do there. But yeah, like I say, this is something that folks could put up in a matter of minutes and be able to have heat, even if they were going to be out for a couple of days, or heck, even a matter of hours. You could put it right up and be good to go. So now, oh no, not totally, sorry, don't want to mislead you. You still got to power this thing too. That's a thing. So now this just runs off of 12 volts. But you have to understand, you can't rely on the thought of having electric if you're not relying on the thought of having heat. Now, I would imagine the electric is going to be a little more of a pain than the fuel, to be honest, because I would imagine it probably takes a little bit to run. I don't know if a car battery would run this thing overnight or not. I have no idea. I've never used one. I hope before everything goes to hell that I get the opportunity to get one and do all this type of testing and find out. Yeah, there's a lot that I don't know on these. But I have seen plenty of videos of these things, and they seem to do a really incredible job. And everybody that I've seen videos that do them talks about how little fuel that they use, how much heat they produce, and you just have to make sure that you've got fuel. You have to make sure that you've got power to be able to run them. Again, I don't know if a car battery will run one all night or if it would take a couple. You could feasibly, if you had, roughly a couple of 100 watts of solar power, you could probably recharge enough battery power to be able to power this thing through the night and probably get you through that day. In other words, have your panels set up to be providing power and charging your batteries at the same time. I'm sure a couple of 100 watts would be enough to do you for this heating system. Have no doubt of that. Now, whether or not you would need one car battery or two, I don't know. And if you could afford better and get a lithium ion, for instance, or, something, a better type of battery, a 12-volt battery to power with, I highly recommend it. But if you have to go the cheap route, well, you've got car batteries, and I know that's not extra cheap, but it's definitely cheaper than the other options. So yeah, I'd love to have some huge lithium-ion batteries. That would be sweet. But anyway, I think this is a good option, and I know I haven't had it up on the screen, but I think that's a really good option for especially apartment dwellers or people who rent in general, if they can't do any other types of modifications to their home. I really think that this is important. I see a number of things coming at us when it comes to this particular topic. Let me have a sip of coffee. Or three. I see a number of things that we're looking at. Number one, we have a government that wants all of its peoples to do a thing. Not all of its peoples want to do the thing. How far will they go? Gotta ask the question. Now, next up, I am seeing an insane increase in energy prices in many parts of the world. Insane. Seeing what's going on over in the UK and places like that? Wow. What's going to happen here? You know, I've sat here the last couple of days, and this is honest to God been a thought the last couple of days. I've been wondering, are we maybe a little luckier because we do have electric heat? Our gas prices for like natural gas and propane, are they going to go absolutely stupid like they are in other parts of the world? Can't say it won't happen. We are watching too many of the same things repeat in too many places around the globe. Way too many. And so, at this point, when I start seeing certain events happen overseas, I start looking at the likelihood of them happening here. These high fuel prices are one of those things I see happening. How many people, in light of the current situation, all situations that is, are already pretty tight with money? So if we have a massive increase in energy costs along with the increases in food costs and everything else, what's that going to look like? I'm wondering if that dark winter that everybody was talking about was supposed to be this winter. I mean, I'm pretty sure it sounded like they were talking about last winter when all the different ones talked about it. But I don't think it was an incredibly dark winter last year. I have a feeling that's about to change this year. And again, there are so many factors feeding into this. It's unbelievable the amount of factors feeding into this. This whole situation does not look very good. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, not as such a pleasant thought, is we had already seen some stories coming out of Florida of landlords mandating the thing for tenants. Now, I know that that was going to wind up in court. I don't know where that went or anything like that. But it's something that we need to think about. Now, I feel pretty comfortable that it's not an issue we'd have to worry about with our landlord. However, what if there was pressure put on him by someone else? Either the government, insurance company, whatever. You know, I mean, can I really expect him to lose his property or whatever? And I get it. I get legality and all that, but I also get power at the end of a barrel. So what's that going to look like for individuals that are put in that position? Yeah, I can say I feel confident that that wouldn't happen to us. I can say that all day long, but it doesn't, that's not a certainty. And it sure in the hell doesn't talk about what your situation might be. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about that tonight as well. We are in some very, very strange times. And I think we would be wise to treat it as such. And we're seeing people lose their incomes like it was nothing over this insanity. As a result, I'm sure that there are a number of those people that wind up losing homes. I think that situations in this country are going to get a lot more dire for a lot more people. I think we got a long way to go down. And I think there might wind up being an awful lot of people in this country that are put in an awful dire situation at an awful dire time this winter. Because I do believe that the reports are accurate. I do believe that this is going to be one hell of a winter. That doesn't make good on our other situations. So I think folks need to look to be prepared to be able to deal with what would happen if they lost their housing. And I think people would be wise not to just put it in your head that, oh, well, that couldn't happen. Unless you're a property owner. But if you're a renter, please heed that warning. Because we have no idea what the hell it's going to look like. Even a year from now. I don't think we're going to be in a good spot a year from now. I really don't think so. I hope I'm wrong, folks. I hope I'm wrong. But things don't look good. They don't look good at all. And I've told you all from the beginning that I was here to tell you the truth to my best ability, and I wasn't going to sugarcoat anything. I was never going to sugarcoat anything. And I have never spoke like I have to you lately on this show. I mean, I've done this show for years, and I've never had kind of a, yeah, you better be tying up loose ends real quickly attitude like I've had, I don't know how long now. It's been a little while. Probably been at least 2-3 months that I really have been on folks hard to start tying up those loose ends. Trying to give you as much warning as possible. Because when this slips, it's going to slip. Anyway, so make sure that you take shelter in consideration of your preps, whatever that looks like for you. Some of you can easily get some hammocks and you know, some nice winterized hammocks and all of that, and a good tarp and all of that, and be good. Others can't. We are in the category that can't. Now, I could probably get away with doing that, but Jen probably wouldn't fare too well in a hammock. So it's best that she's got a tent to be able to sleep in. Well, that brings in lots of things. You know, it depends. You can do it light and small, but it's going to be ultra uncomfortable. So we've got 2 different setups, okay? And again, we don't have everything we need. I've got 1 sleeping bag that's supposed to be here tomorrow, and then I'll have to get a second sleeping bag, so we'll both have one. I still got to get wool blankets and whatnot. But we've got 2 different tents. We've got a big tent and we've got a small tent. And that way, depending on the situation that we were in, would depend on what tent we needed. Now, again, one of them's a small tent, just like a little dome tent, 2 to 3 person dome tent, I think it is. And I could just throw it up real quick, and we would be in a small size tent. The other one, and I've actually brought one up to show you in case you're not familiar with them. We've got one of these. We've got a Coleman Elite Weathermaster, and I'm actually going to, like I say, probably over the next week or so, do a video of putting this up. I just need to put it up to air it out, actually. So I need to get it up to air it out. I want to blow up the mattress and all that. Just, you know, let it sit for a few hours or whatever, blown up and inflated. Make sure everything looks all right, and then tear everything down and pack it back up. So I'm going to do a video putting it up and showing, you know, hopefully a good, decent quality video of putting it up for folks if they want to check it out, or if they bought one or whatever and want to see it put up on video or whatever. I'm going to try to whip out something 4K that looks good. So anyway, awesome, incredible tent. Now, this is not a backpacking tent. You're not taking this hiking, okay? You're not going to be walking down the road with this, down the road to nowhere. That's for certain. Not unless you've got an ogre with you. But they're a hell of a tent. And if you need something that's going to hold up weather-wise and stuff like that, this is a good way to go. Now, is it the ultimate weather tent, the ultimate 4-season? No, it's not. It's not. It's not even a 4-season tent. It doesn't have a stove jack on it. I want to fix that. I really want to fix that. I want to put a stove jack on it, and I just haven't gotten a chance to. There are some skills that I'm not real good with, and I don't know how good I would be at putting a stove jack in this tent. So, actually thought about getting a hot tent, which you can. I've had one that's in my Amazon wish list. It's been there forever, and I keep seeing it go around for about $160, $170 at times when they've got it in stock, and that's not too shabby. So I don't know, we'll see. But anyway, this is the one that we've got, and I would highly recommend that whatever your needs are, make sure you've got something squared away for that, whether that's you can manage with a tarp and a hammock and all of that. It'd be hard for us. Now, if we were able to use this Elite Weathermaster. We've got a Coleman air mattress and all of that, and of course I've got the power supply, battery backup, whatever you want to call them. They're not solar generators. There is no such thing other than the sun. But anyway, I've got those to be able to air the mattress up with. It's one that you plug in to air up. And it's got a lighting system in it, USB. I've got it set up for USB and all of that. So otherwise, we've got the small tent. If we don't have that luxury of having the nice tent, we've got the small tent, and hey, the ground, right? So I do need to get us some sleeping mats. So we don't have sleeping mats. I do need to get us some sleeping mats. So there are some very basic things that we're still working on. I don't want anybody to, think that they're so far behind in prepping that they could never get there. Because I'll tell you what, you'll never get there. You'll never get there. We have gotten quite a bit in the time we've been together, that's for certain. But we've still got a long way to go in all reality. I mean, could we survive if something happened right this moment? Well, it depends for how long, and it depends for what circumstances. That's too broad of a question. But all you can do is keep at it and keep at it. That's all you can do. Man, I'll tell you what, there are a lot of things I wished I had, but it is what it is. I can just continue to work at getting it. So we've got a long way to go, and I know that. But I just try to fill in the gaps, the holes that I think is most important, and I just kind of keep working around and trying to get a little bit better and a little bit better. When I move from area to area, and I try to improve what I've got. So that's probably my best recommendation for folks that don't have a ton of money like us. So anyway, I don't know really what else to tell you about that. I just kind of wanted to cover heat. I wanted to cover shelter, because I really do feel like we've got some not so great times coming, and I want folks to be ready for it. So I know that there are some individuals that I rub the wrong way on YouTube, but you know what? We really need to get in the mindset that things are not going to be nice. And I don't think I'm that horrible of a person. I call things out as I see it. That makes me an honest person. I'm direct. Why mealy-mouth anything? We've got hard times coming. We've got incredibly hard times coming. We better get our mind in the right mindset. It's not going to be nice. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be absolutely brutal. And I'm not brutal. I'm not brutal with anybody. But the world that I think that we're heading into is going to be pretty brutal. So if I say something that offends people, I don't know how the hell they're going to handle what we're going to be dealing with. I'm just being honest. Just being honest. Anyway, let me go ahead and do some headlines and get the heck out of here for the week. Now, I'll probably put out a few videos tomorrow, like I have been for the last week or so. I'll pick a few stories I think are more important, the more important stories, and I'll do videos tomorrow. But of course, there'll be no live show tomorrow night. And Saturday, though, I won't be doing videos because of Shabbat. And then, unless something major happens, and then, of course, we'll see you back Sunday with videos and then another live show. But man, I'll tell you, I have a feeling tomorrow's going to be a doozy in news. I really do. I think today was a bit of an eerie reprieve. And I like I said, not saying today was a good news day, but it wasn't the absolute onslaught like it has been all the rest of the week. So, let's see. Yeah, I mean, I'm not one that really cares too much about what other people think of me. I never have, not even in high school or anything else. I was always the oddball that kind of did my own thing. So, still am. Never bothered me any. Nobody understood it, but, whatever. Of course, a lot of them that I hung out with, look at them today, and they're just about the world. You know what I mean? Just about the world. And unfortunately, most of them, when all this shit, pardon the language, when all this stuff comes down, we're not going to be in a good situation. And that goes for a whole lot of people. You know, it's good to see more people get interested in prepping and more people step up and do prepping. But there's still a whole lot of people that don't. And I don't know what to tell those folks, you know? Seems to me there are plenty of us out there, at least enough people out there saying, hey, stock back some food. You would think that everybody's got one of those people in their list, you know what I mean? But maybe not. Alright, let's do some headlines here. All of them I started putting out this morning. Pentagon holds frank talks with Chinese military as Beijing decries backstabbing AUKUS deal. So this is, I'm telling you, this is something that's probably going to escalate further. I really honestly think so. New Zealand beefs up counterterrorism law after ISIS-inspired knife assailant injured 7 despite weeks of police surveillance. Well. Seems kind of like they have much the same issue over there as what we have. Wait a minute. Is this another thing that we are seeing happen in other, in multiple countries at the same time? Their surveillance agencies have been in contact with these people, and then these people go haywire and wreak a bunch of havoc. It's just so funny how that works, isn't it? Isn't it so interesting? So interesting. Gas price keeps climbing in Europe as Brussels delays Russian supplies via Nord Stream 2. Russian cybersecurity firm boss arrested on high treason charges in secret police raid after allegedly spying for foreign nation. Slovenian, I'm not sure. Police used tear gas and water cannon as rally against COVID-19 pass mandate gets chaotic. See, if YouTube's block of RT's German channels is about misinformation, when will MSNBC and CNN be banned for Russiagate conspiracies? It's an opinion piece from I had to share it. Former French President Sarkozy sentenced to 1-year jail term over illegally financing 2012 election campaign. Palestinian woman killed by Israeli police after attempted knife attack near Al-Aqsa Mosque. I'm sure I said that wrong. Not sure how that would be pronounced. North Korean Kim Jong-un offers to reopen inter-Korean hotlines and tells South to drop delusions of provocations from Pyongyang. EU could revise visa-free travel scheme with Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia over abuses such as unfounded asylum claims, says EU observer. A 96-year-old Nazi death camp secretary goes on the run before trial in Germany. I saw a headline where they actually caught her. Let's see. Gulf Air launches commercial flights from Bahrain to Israel. Almost 1 million UK workers left with uncertain future as government ends £70 billion furlough scheme. UK ex-cop Wayne Couzens handed rare whole life sentence for false arrest, kidnap, rape, and murder of Sarah Everett. China discovers huge offshore oil deposit in Bohai Bay. Cautious optimism after landmark new UK report admits trans athletes do retain advantages against women. News site founded by Kitty Cat Riot and Golos Election Monitor among 24 new groups given foreign agent status by Russian government. I really didn't want to say the word. Poland illegally refused entry to asylum seekers at border with Belarus, stranding them without food, water, and shelter, says Amnesty. LGBT and radical feminism and child-free movements should be recognized by government as extremist ideologies, a Russian official suggests. And I'll just, yeah. Judge refuses to halt Scottish COVID vaccine passport bid after legal challenge from nightclub owners. Facebook could face millions of dollars in fines from Russia for failing to delete banned content, Moscow's media regulator warns. Let's see. Brits unimpressed as Uber woke Labour leader Keir Starmer calls for female James Bond. Fauci implores NBA rebel Irving to get vaccine after Star liked Instagram posts linking jab to wild plan of Satan conspiracy. Metro East teachers suing school districts over vaccine mandate. That's like teachers near us. Troy is one town over from us, and then Edwardsville is not very far from us either. So, a couple of local towns. Amazon lists long track record of SpaceX legal actions after Elon Musk joked that Jeff Bezos can't sue his way to space. No, but he can fly a big, large, penis-looking thing into space. He can do that. Woo! Sorry. All right. Europe and China did not request boost in Russian coal supplies, says the Energy Ministry. But yet I got another report that says they did, so. Serbia inks deal with breakaway Kosovo region in EU brokered end to border spat that featured jet flyovers and tanks at frontier. A massive blaze erupts from top of residential building in western Siberian oil and gas city of Tyumen. And I probably said the name of that wrong. Brexiteer Nigel Farage says he was struck by a van while on desperate quest for fuel as UK petrol panic sparks gridlock and violence. kind of crazy. Russia puts Bellingcat partner Dobrokhotov on wanted list. Journalist is accused of illegally crossing state border into Ukraine. UK traffic falls to lowest level since COVID-19 lockdowns ended amid ongoing fuel crisis. Ex-CIA chiefs call to prosecute sources who outed alleged plot to target Assange. Confirmed story, WikiLeaks editor-in-chief says. China requests emergency power from Russia as coal shortages leave cities without electricity and factories grind to a standstill. A Democrat PAC ridiculed for attack ad on Governor DeSantis for not being authoritarian enough. Ethiopia expels 7 UN representatives for meddling and gives them 72 hours to leave. Can we do that? With a lot more than 7? Let's see. Turkey's move to buy S-400 anti-aircraft system from Russia is due to America's refusal to sell Ankara Patriots, Erdogan explains. I don't know about all that. Because I remember some administrations that wanted to sell them Patriots, that wanted to make a deal with them with Patriots if they wouldn't make the deal with the S-400 systems that they currently have. So I don't know about all that. I don't know about that. They wanted the S-400 systems, and I understand why they wanted them. I get it. Activist deceived into relationship with undercover officer wins landmark human rights case against Met Police. Met chief sorry for damage done by case of killer cop Cousins to trust between public and police, but ignores calls to step down. You know, and I saw this headline today, and I got to thinking about this. Now, I don't know this situation intimately. Not in any way, shape, or form. I don't know the details of it. But if this guy is just a chief, right, and he had no involvement of a cover-up or anything like that, if he just happened to be the chief, then why should he have to step down for what some officer did? How, if he was in no way involved and in no way tried to cover up or hide or anything like that, he shouldn't be in any way responsible for what another individual chose to do. Just saying. But again, I don't know the situation intimately enough to know whether there was a cover-up or anything like that. I don't know. Russia's Sputnik 5 vaccine successfully completes third and final phase clinical trials among elderly, the health minister reveals. Italian ex-mayor, once praised for integrating migrants, gets 13 years in jail for irregularities in handling asylum seekers. One boy badly hurt in Memphis school shooting. Student shooter in custody. I don't know if any more information came out on that. I did mention in the video that I would check, and I haven't, honestly. I don't know if there's anything more. Oh, I have reached my article limit. Hang on. I have to do it in another window, but I got to do it in incognito. Let's see. Stupid ads. Okay, it's not saying anything, I don't think, as far as an update on the boy or anything, or what happened or anything. So I have no more updates on you on that story, or for you on that story. So okay, shutdown averted. Senate passes continuing resolution to keep U.S. government open through December. aka kick the can down the road a couple of months. At explicit content site, OnlyFans, ex-employees kept access to private customer information, including ID and credit cards, says reports. Wheelchair-bound Malawi politician with U.S. roots shoots himself in Parliament office in dispute over special vehicle he relied on. I don't know all the details of this. It does sound like a very unfortunate situation. Again, I don't know all the details of it, but apparently, because of his situation, I guess he had childhood polio. He had a vehicle that he had used to be able to get around, and I guess there was dispute over whose vehicle that was. He claims that he had actually purchased the vehicle. I forget what year or whatever, 2017, 2019, something like that. And don't know if he didn't, whatever, but anyway, he was obviously highly distraught over, I'm assuming they were going to take it away from him, and that's why he did it. So, sad situation. It's a shame. It really is a shame. That should have never been. I mean, that man was like, I think he worked for them for like 15 years or something like that. Man, that shouldn't even been an issue. Let's see. Baby rescuing Marine investigated for appearing at Trump rally. Dead grunt's family lectured on face masks. So, a lot of insanity going on with this stupid. And it's not all even, I wouldn't even classify it all as the woke culture. It's I don't know what to call it. I don't know. Let's see. We're concerned about public safety. Manchester cops hammered by watchdog for failing to protect victims, ignoring phone calls. No warnings, no strikes, no evidence. Ron Paul Institute's YouTube channel deleted. Now, I'm subscribed to a Ron Paul channel, but obviously it's not the Ron Paul Institute channel, because the one that I'm subscribed to is still active, and he's still putting videos on it. But I guess he had another channel that just went poof today. So, crazy. Massive fire breaks out at Stuttgart bus depot and sends smoke towering over the city. Senator rips Facebook-owned Instagram for harming children and hiding products' toxicity. Crickets and psychosis account for Havana syndrome, says newly declassified report by U.S. scientists. Pyongyang tested new air defense system amid recent volley of missile launches, says state media. So now this is 3 different technologies that they have tested just like in a short order here. They have tested this anti-missile or this anti-aircraft defense system. I'm sure it's probably aircraft or missile, either one. They have tested, from my understanding, successfully tested a hypersonic delivery system, and basically a hypersonic missile. They've successfully tested one. That's insane. And then they've got their railway system that they recently did a successful test with. So, kind of something we might want to keep our eye on there. And that's it. That is the headlines I have for you. Like I said, it wasn't quite as saturated is a good word, I guess, to use today with news, but I really don't think that I would rely on that tomorrow. So, if you're not signed up for our Twitter, that's where I put out all the news on both our Twitter and our Facebook, but I recommend Twitter because it's more reliable. And no matter what, even on Shabbat, I also put out the news on Twitter. I don't think he's going to look too horribly on me for sharing out Twitter links. on Shabbat. So I do put those out as well on Shabbat. But tomorrow, like I said, I'll likely do a few videos throughout the day on the more important stories. And then we'll see you Sunday. I'll put out a few videos and we'll see you Sunday night. So I am going to get out of here and relax and enjoy time off. I hope you all do the same, and hopefully the things I discussed tonight might be a little help to someone. So hope you all have a great night. Hope to see you soon. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit, and shalom.